Hey everybody, Professor Snart just checking in here as we look at our next Unit 8, and so it's our midterm essay here, so we really are pretty close to about halfway through the course. And this unit is a little bit different as far as we're not moving forward or covering new material, but actually taking a moment, which is sort of nice at this point because we have been working through so many different authors and readings and various approaches to all of those people and sort of how they fit into this larger pattern. So the midterm gives us a nice opportunity, sort of like this moment in Paradise Lost where Adam is taken by one of the angels up to a hill and gets a literal sort of vision of the landscape around him. I always think of that sort of midterm essay or like a final essay in the class as that moment of sort of removing yourself from the everyday moving forward sort of thing and finally surveying either where you're going or where you've been. So this is our opportunity to really think about where we've been as far as some of the authors and readings and ideas that we've encountered so far. So a pretty straightforward, academic essay, I think. Notice that you're submitting it as a file here, not as a discussion board, so it works a little bit differently, but in terms of your approach to the assignment, it's still fundamentally the same. I'm asking you to choose from some of the prompts or one of the prompts that I've provided here. They're all sort of thematic ideas that ask you to kind of connect authors or works in a way that makes sense as far as a thematic parallel or an approach that they share or something to that effect. So again, this moment where we can begin to see some connections between the various authors and works that we've been reading. So I just want to draw your attention again to one of the fundamental components here that I'll be looking for in the essay is on top of an obvious thesis, organization, topic sentences that begin each paragraph, all of that basic kind of stuff. I can't stress enough that what I need to see is use of direct quotation from the works themselves throughout the body of the essay. So that's sort of like the most fundamental component that shows me that you have been doing the readings attentively and can now kind of process some of that information back into a coherent argument that maybe brings a few works together to show their similarities or their relationship to one another. If you have any questions or want to run ideas by me before you get into the actual writing of it, you're more than welcome if you have questions about the prompts. If you have an idea that's not listed here that you'd like to explore, that's of course along the same lines, by all means be in touch with me. Clearly you'd want to do that as soon as possible so you can sort of get the okay and move forward with that. But you're not necessarily locked into just the prompts here, but I do require you to sort of clear your own prompt with me before you go ahead with it. There's no secondary source or research required here. If you do any, obviously cite correctly, err on the side of citing too much as far as, just making sure that it doesn't come off as plagiarism. So that's the only sort of downside to doing any kind of secondary research is you just run the risk of maybe inadvertently or something just goes a little haywire and all of a sudden you've got somebody else's sentence in your essay with no citation. Whether you intended it or not, that's plagiarism and that is like not where we want to go. So no research required. It really is just your engagement with the primary texts that we've been looking at. And of course, material from the course that maybe has drawn your attention to certain things in the texts or introductory material that has explained sort of how these fit in the literary history that we've been looking at so far, or their social or political contexts or any of that kind of stuff. So again, slightly different unit for us, a nice moment to take a break and kind of survey the scene where we've been here. And as always, if you have questions about the unit, about past things, about the course in general, about a topic that you might be interested in developing here, just be in touch with me.